Hello, 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 YouTube. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Real Talk Therapy. It's your girl, Ebony. We have been talking about the 5 stages of change as they relate to recovery and or mental health diagnoses. And when we get in crisis mode with these things, or we kind of get to a place where we've been managing them, doing what we need to do, and you're able to see your progress and or the lack thereof through these 5 stages of change. And to use or to describe the characteristics of these 5 stages of change, I've been using Scooby and the gang. And we talked about the 5 original Scooby-Doo characters. We know that there are spin-offs and other characters. I just stay focused on the original 5 because there are 5 stages of change. And so far, we have gone through 3 characters, and we're going to get right into the 4th one. But before we do, of course, t-shirt design each time, and this is one that you guys have seen before, Real Talk Therapy. Told y'all I love red, love fatigue, and so I good God, I almost fell yesterday. I'm almost about to fall today. But at any rate, like I said, if I fall, y'all, we're gonna keep going. We ain't editing, we ain't doing none of that, because this thing is serious. Somebody is on here to find out what they need to do to battle or make it through an addiction and or a manic phase of their mental health diagnosis. And so I'm going to help you do it whether I can stay on my feet before I sit down or not. And again, before we get started, you guys know I have this little ritual or tradition, whatever you want to call it, since I've started, where not only do I promote a custom made shirt, I share with you some of my favorites, some of the things that I like, some things that I even consider, an addiction. And it's not necessarily an addiction, but it's something that I really, really like, and things that I feel like I have to have. And so every day I do color coordinate or do my very best to. And this is the horse and carriage tote, Coach tote, in different shades of red. It has a little bit of that wine and plum in it, but the red pops off and the gold more so. We get down to our shoes for the day, and they are my red Vapor Max. So read it out. And for those of you that are just joining the channel, or if this is your first time watching us or being here with us, I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But before Delta, I actually liked red. Red was my favorite color. Anyway, so it just all worked out. and it all came through. And so, I am wearing fatigue today because we're going into our 4th stage of change out of the 5. So we're bringing this thing home for the week. And when we get to this stage, yesterday we talked about the 3rd stage being preparation. So sometimes you got to prepare for war. And, I told you guys too, you'll find out, not only do I like music, I'm a big movie buff, and the John Wick series, and I cannot think of the owner's name of the Continental that John would always go to, and then he would help him. He was a really good friend, and he knew he wasn't supposed to help him, but he always said, you can't just prepare for war. You gotta be ready for war. And when we're battling with our addictions, when we're battling with our mental health, when we're battling with things that we just can't quite seem to get a grip on them and work through them on our own, you have to be prepared for not the worst, because there's that cliche, prepare, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. No, we've gone through the worst. So in changing and going through our stages of change, we got to prepare for the best. It got to be something better than being addicted to drugs and losing your kids. It got to be something better than, going and losing your money and not being able to pay your bills. It got to be something better than these broken relationships that you can't seem to find your way out of. It has to be something better, even when it comes to grief. There has to be a better way to celebrate the life of the loved one that we've lost. And so in these stages of change, as we've gone through our Scooby-Doo phase of pre-contemplating and feeling like we didn't need no help, we didn't need to change, it wasn't nothing that we needed to do, into our Shaggy stage of contemplating, hesitating a little bit, of, I know I need this help, I know I need to make this change, but I'm still not quite sure, to our Freddy stage of, being debonair. I'm halfway through this thing. I think I got it, but hey, I don't know, so I'm teeter-totter. I'm afraid to go the distance to see what's on the other side, but I know the other side is where I want to go because I've been through the worst. It's time for me to prepare for the best. And so if you haven't been following the series, I am using Prokofsky's and DiClemente's model for stages of change. It is used in all 50 states when you're receiving mental health, behavioral health, and or substance abuse treatment. And when you're in recovery, this is the outline or the drawing book, if you will, for administering or providing interventions for those of us that want to come up out of our recoveries and come up out of them successfully. For those of us who truly want to be better today than we were yesterday. Okay, and so now we're at this fourth stage of change, and we only have 2 characters left from Scooby-Doo in the game. And if you've been following me, you know which 2 characters we have left. And if you haven't been following me, when we share which one we're going to talk about today and which stage of change we're in today, you got to go back and catch up for this week to understand why I chose to use Scooby-Doo in the game as an example of the characteristics for the stages of change. So we're at the 4th one. And the 4th stage of change in this model is action. So if you're preparing for war, you're preparing for action. And we know action, it's an action word. You got to do something. You can't keep doing what you used to do. So at this stage, now you got to do that different thing that you've learned while you were in treatment. You got to behave differently so you can prepare for the best. We've gone through the worst. Now we're looking at the best. And so the stage of change model describes action as this. In this stage, people have recently changed their behavior and intend to keep going forward with that behavior change. People may exhibit this by modifying their problem behavior and acquiring new healthy behaviors. So when you're in action, you're no longer hanging around those people, going to those places, doing those same things that did not get you to a satisfactory place in your life. You're no longer in denial. You're no longer in pre-contemplation. I belong here in the action stage. You're no longer hesitating. So, I'm no longer in that contemplation state of, I don't know if I need to really go forward with this. Maybe I can find some family to get my kids. Maybe I can find an agency to pay my light bill. No. You're not even thinking like that anymore. You have gone through preparation. Now you're determined and you've made it to the action stage. You've made it to number 4. And in this place, you are convinced that you want the other side of this thing. You're convinced now that you want to move forward. You're no longer going back to those people, places, and things, or that erotic behavior, or that messed up relationship, or that crazy behind job. You're no longer a slave to your addiction in your mindset. And when your mind is strong, your actions are stronger. Now, don't get it twisted, because even in the action stage of change, you can still relapse. And we're going to talk about relapse and lapse, after we go through these stages of change. But you can still fall. But the good thing about being at the action stage is you're not necessarily looking for somebody to pick you up. You still would use your recovery tool. Remember we talked yesterday about, the tow truck and your network of people, your support. You still may call one of them, but this time when you call, you've brushed yourself off a little bit. This time you got up before the help got to you. This time you used the tools and the coping strategies and the coping mechanisms and the crisis line and the information you get in group and these conversations that you've had with me. You're using every weapon that you have to keep fighting this thing. You're now taking action. And which Scooby-Doo character do you think that is out of the two lovely ladies that we have left? Because remember, we've talked about Scooby, Shaggy, Freddy. All we had left was Daphne and Velma. And if you guessed Daphne, then you guessed right. Daphne is, the pretty girl. She's dressed real sophisticated. She's real cute, but don't get it twisted. Daphne will go in there and fight the monsters. She's going to go in the dark and she'll go off by herself. Daphne no longer... Or Daphne doesn't have any fear. So when you're in the action stage, you no longer have any fear. You're no longer avoiding those things that were holding you down. You're facing your addiction head on. You are facing your symptoms head on. You're facing these crises head on. You're fighting. And you're fighting in a good, positive, and healthy way. And so let me just read a little bit about how the internet described Daphne, or at least the ones that I chose to use that go along with how I see Daphne. And it says she's one of the most effective members of the gang. She has the leadership qualities that Freddy wants to possess, but because Freddy is still in that preparation stage, he hasn't quite begun to do any action. Daphne comes on through and says, look, I got it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We're here to solve this mystery. We're here to get this help and fight this thing that's been keeping us down. We've come this far. Let's keep going. Daphne is good at thinking on her feet. She is, one of my favorite personalities, and not because she's the pretty girl, because anybody that knows me knows, I'm a girl, woman all day long, all female, but I'm not girly. And Daphne was girly, but she was a little girly gangster. Daphne said, let's go. That little purple dress got dirty, toe up, them little, gosh, I can't even think of y'all know what I'm talking about, them tights. They not purple. Oh my God, why can't I think of the color? But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all seen the picture. Them little tights got dirty, them little purple. Daphne gets down. She is all about action. And she's been referred to as the one too that kind of falls into trouble and requires some rescuing, but she only wants to be rescued when she wants to be rescued. And that's when we come into relapse and lapses and things that can happen. Daphne will put herself in situations that she can get herself out of if she uses action, uses her tools, do what she's in the place to be. But if it's a cute guy, she want to be noticed on a cartoon, even if it's a monster that Daphne finds intriguing, she wants to appear as a damsel in distress. But in her mindset, if she really wanted to, she could get up out of that. Of course, she was considered a beauty queen, a fashion type. Different ones said, Daphne had a little money. I don't know. But when I see Daphne, I see gangster girly. Let's get it. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm done with what was behind me. All three of the male figures have, they've gone through this part and we followed their lead. But now I'm going to take them on to this last stage of change. And in order to know what that is, you guys know you got to join me tomorrow, our last day of the week, to bring this thing on home so we can go through our last stage of change. And there's no guesswork in it. Our last stage of change is going to talk about our last character, which is Velma. And if you are a Scooby-Doo buff, you kind of can already guess, and if you know the stages of change, where we would go with Velma and how we're going to bring this thing on home. But while we're parked here in action, if there's somebody out there who has gotten to this place, you've made it here, and you have started taking action, first and foremost, taking responsibility for your actions and making a change, you're my hero. You're my hero. Because now you're starting to believe in your change. You're starting to believe in what everybody else sees in you. I want to share something with y'all. I have wanted to do this for some time now, but I didn't believe in myself enough. But my support system, man, and I ain't even get ready to be one of them people that get on these videos and talk to y'all and be crying. Now, I'm just not going to do that. But I will tell you, it warms my heart because my support system saw me doing this long before I mustered up the courage to sit down and do it. And my support system said, if you're going to be real talk on screen, you got to be real talk like you are with us. Don't get on there trying to mimic and see what you watch these other people. I love TED Talk. No disrespect to TED, but I had to come on here and be Ebony. And that's real talk, and really explain to you these things because I'm so passionate when I'm working with individuals and I'm helping people. I'm telling you, I'm so passionate in seeing you cross the finish line because that does something for me. I feel as though I'm giving back because somebody took their time and energy to pour into me. And so when you get the action stage, your girl get excited. Daphne gets excited. She's going to solve those mysteries no matter what. No matter if nobody else go with her. She's now decided she's going to see this job through to the end. So you're now at a place where you're going to see this thing through to the end. So you can truly see what's waiting for you on the other side. Remember, guys, I told you there is light at the end of the tunnel. We just get stuck in the tunnel because we can't see the light. But even when you can't see it, you can't stop. Feel your way through. And if you bump into a barrier, a trigger, or a wall, feel around and go another way. But keep going. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. You've gotten to that action stage. Do not turn around. This thing is too big now for you to turn around. And this story is too big. I can barely contain myself. I almost want to go ahead to the end, but I'm going to hold out. Because, you know, I said I wanted to produce content 5 days a week. So I'm going to hold out. And I want you guys to continue to, you know, use these coping skills. Use these different things that I'm providing for you. Look into yourself. Reach out if you need some help. If you need something, you know, additional. Google Prochaska and DeClemente, five stages of change. And go delve deeper into these things for what it is that you're fighting with. Those things that you have chosen to put under the rug and you're not quite ready to pull them out yet. When you get to action, you pulling that stuff out so fast. But slow down, because remember, you can only deal with one thing at a time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. But you're so excited because you're moving now. You feel good. You look good. You sound good. People see you and they see a sober you. Or people see you and you're not asking them for nothing because you got money in your pocket. People see you and you know, you're not with that person that was dragging you down and not supporting you and not helping you chase your dreams. People see you and they see you celebrating the life of the loved one that you lost instead of walking around all down, crying and wearing yourself thin because they're gone. Their time is up. And so now let's just be thankful and happy for the time that they were here. Like I told you guys at the beginning of this, Scooby-Doo, you know, I don't just choose some of these characters just because. They do have a personal meaning for me too. You know, like I said, with Winnie the Pooh, you've heard me talk about my Uncle Isaac. He referred to one of my aunts as Winnie the Pooh because that was his Pooh. That was his Pooh Bear. And that particular aunt is loving. Oh God, love it. I can't begin to explain it. But with Scooby-Doo, that's Uncle Isaac. You know, he loved Scooby-Doo for so many different reasons, but that particular cartoon stands out for this, because as much as I talk about my uncle, you know, he struggled with some things too. He went through some things, and even though I was a child, I didn't realize the stages of change in his life when he was battling with his addiction. But I saw the forefront. I saw him make it from pre-contemplation to contemplation to determination, preparation to action, and to the fifth one. So you got to come back tomorrow to find out what that one is. And you already know it's Velma, because we didn't have but 5 characters, you know, so there's no spoiler alert there. But you know about my girl Velma a little bit. If you don't know, you know, do a little bit of homework and see if you're going to go where I'm going to go with it tomorrow here on Real Talk Therapy. Remember, guys, please continue to subscribe. Please continue to like, share, comment, and you'll see the email and the Instagram page and different ways to reach out to us. Also, don't forget you can order custom-made t-shirts if you like, and there's so many different things that are going to be coming down the pike for you, you know, as we continue to grow. And remember, my goal is to make this thing global. But if I could just help one person, I've done what I set out to do. And so I want to thank you guys for spending this little bit of time with me. And come back tomorrow, Real Talk Therapy. Bye.